Hello folks, this is Dr. Mark Foster. Welcome to another edition of the Dr. Mark Foster Show. On today's program, I will be discussing a tablet written by the prophet founder of the Bahá'í Faith, Bahá'u'lláh, called The Seven Valleys. It is one of Baha'u'llah's mystical works, and it uses a similar style to a book by Attar called Conference of the Birds or Language of the Birds. Basically, it follows the progress of through seven valleys in a very similar way that Attar does. The terminology is very similar, although Baha'u'lláh puts a very unique gloss on it, which is not in Attar's original work. The book in Persian is referred to as Ph.D, which is the seven valleys. And this is a list of the seven valleys in Persianized Arabic, which is provided in the book. First is talab, which is search. Second is ishq, which is love. Third is marifat, which is knowledge. Fourth is tawheed, which is unity. Fifth is istighna, which is contentment. Sixth is hira, which is wonderment. And seventh is faqr-e-haqiqi va fana, which is true poverty and annihilation, translated in English as true poverty and absolute nothingness. These are my reflections, take them for what you will, on those seven valleys. First, talab, search. This is the valley that we are all born into, in my view. We are born as searching beings, and at various points we make a commitment toward searching for something higher than ourselves. But we all have that drive, and perhaps some more than others. With some people, that drive may be repressed by various things, addictions, bad behavior, mistreatment of others, lying. But the spirit of search is present with all of us, in my view. Second, ishq, or love. This is a valley which can be seen perhaps as the union of the soul with the object of its desire, with the best beloved, with God. It is a recognition of love as the reality of our lives, that we are all composed of a loving spirit. Personally, I discovered love really for the first time after I began to have a series of spiritual encounters with angels, which freed me from my complete lack of empathy as an autistic, perhaps 5 or 6, maybe 7 years ago. Next is marifat, or knowledge, really a kind of mystical knowledge, or gnosis. And in the valley of knowledge, one comes or begins to know one's own higher self, one's true self, who one is as a soul, that one is a soul, and that as a soul one has access to a special kind of inner vision or insight which lower beings do not have. And so the attainment of knowledge, or the beginning of knowledge in the sense of gnosis, is a great transformative event in the life of any human being. When one begins to understand the deeper mysteries of life, when one begins to explore the realities of the worlds of God, and one begins to explore the mysteries of one's own soul. Next is Tawhid. Tawhid is literally unification or unifying. However, it is generally translated as unity. And in this level of Tawhid, one recognizes the unities of all things. One of my websites is called Unities of All Things, Bahá'íFaith.info, Bahá'íFaith.info. And I think that the mysteries of unity are, for example, exhibited in the Baha'i calendar, where you have unities. Unity is a wahid. Unities within unities within unities, 19 within 19 within 19, levels of unity. So it's literally a one, or a unity, a unit, and wahid is literally one, is composed of 19. So I think there is a great mystery in that, and we can explore that mystery as we become familiar with the unities that exist within all of creation, and how everything in reality is an extension of everything else in this great cosmic envelope, as the late philosopher Roy Bhaskar has pointed out. Next is istighna, which is contentment, can also be translated as renunciation. Here, after having recognized unity and the unities of all things, and having come to terms with the beauty of existence of these unities within unities, one experiences a kind of divine contentment or peace, where one knows that everything is one, that one has nothing really to fear, that everything is connected, and so if someone dies or passes on, or if somebody comes into an experience of suffering, that in the long run it will all work out, because everything is united and unified. Next is Hera, which is wonderment, can also be translated as bewilderment, suspense, uncertainty, perplexity, mystification, confusion, indecision, or pendulousness. In this valley of wonderment, Baha'u'lláh talks about the dream and the mysteries of the dream. And what he says, that he talks about the beings which exist in the world of dreams, and that nobody except a person who is in this valley of wonderment, of Hera, can understand who these beings are. In my view, these beings are what people in the Western world have historically referred to as archangels. They exist in this world. One of the more tragic aspects of the 20th century, in my view, has been the dominance of Freudian views of dreams on the popular imagination. Even though other people like Adler and Steckel and Jung and others had variations in how they viewed the dream, some ways different, in other ways similar to that of Freud, all of them had a kind of idealistic or mentalistic view of dreams, that dreams are a mental phenomenon. But what I think Baha'u'lláh is saying in the Seven Valleys is that dreams are not mentalistic. The world of dreams is a real world. It is the world of angels. It is the reality of this world. This world that we experience right now is literally, I think, the shell of the inner world of archangels, which is where these archangels live. They're in the innermost reality of this world, and also within ourselves, Baha'u'lláh says. So to my understanding, because these beings, because these angels reside in this world, this is not our world. And that is why I think the issue of abortion is often carried to ridiculous extremes by some people who, while perhaps believing in an afterlife, attach such tremendous importance to this world. But in reality, living in this world is useful and has a function, but it's not necessary. In fact, the majority of fertilized eggs, of zygotes, never attach themselves to the uterine wall, and consequently would, it seems to me, simply die and go immediately into the next world. So I would not personally refer to a fetus as a person. To me, a person is a being who was born and has begun to breathe. Fetuses are souls, or are the material expression of a soul, but that fetus, if it dies, will be protected under the protection of God. And so for that reason, I don't think that abortion should really be that much of an issue. Not that it should be done haphazardly, but if it does happen, it's not, in my opinion, that tragic. In any event, back to the subject. Because these angels are, in my view, that this is their world, that we are visitors in, we are literally the visitors in their world. When we dream, when our senses are dulled, then we can begin to actually see this angelic world. So literally, the dream is the reality of this world. What we experience when we're awake is the shell. What we experience in dreams is the core. Now, that's not to say that our perceptions of dreams are necessarily accurate, or that our perceptions of this inner realm of archangels is accurate, because there is always some noise or some bias, some pre-existing beliefs that people have, which interfere with how we perceive the conditions of this world of dreams. But there is a distinction, in my view, between the world itself, which is the angelic world, and our perceptions of it, which are simply reflections of our own personal limitations. Finally, the seventh valley, Faqr al-Haqiqi wa Fana, or translated into Arabic, Al-Faqr al-Haqiqi wal Fana, the valley of true poverty and absolute nothingness, or the valley of true poverty and annihilation. Here, once one has discovered that this world is really the world of angels, then one becomes aware that our world is the world to come. Then one realizes that one is just dust. Dust on the dust or sand or nothing. Literally nothingness. Literally nothingness. So in this valley, as a result, I think, of understanding where we are, that we are in this world of archangels, which is not our world, that we are literally in this shell, this dust. We are nothing. We are literally nothing. And when we leave this world and ascend higher, then I think that will become clear to all of us. Until next time, this is Dr. Mark Foster. Have a good one.